All right, let's build something fun here. This is largely unrehearsed, although we are working off some existing code. But one of the things we want to do first is we want to be able to get the text. So we want to be able to get the text of a particular paragraph. So we're doing this in Ultra Edit. You could do this in Notepad++. You could do this in the ExtendScript toolkit if you can find a copy. But I'm going to use Ultra Edit, and I'll show you how we rough this out. So usually what I do is I start with target FrameMaker, because when I run this thing in ExtendScript, I want it to know that I want it to run on the FrameMaker document. Now what I'll do here is I'll save this quickly, and we'll just put it in this one of the startup folders. Actually, we'll put it in the 17 folder, and we'll just call it FindChange text.jsx. So what we want to do now that we have it saved, we're going to right click on it, and we're going to say copy file, path name. Then we're going to switch to FrameMaker. We've got the script catalog showing, and we're going to paste this path in there. So now we have this text that we can kind of run interactively as we develop it. So let's go back here, and one of the things I like to do when I'm working on a script like this, I like to work on a selection. So I like to work where my cursor is. If I can get something to work on a single paragraph, then I can get it to work on the whole document or the whole book. So first thing I'm going to do is create some variables. So we need a doc variable, and we need a paragraph variable, and we're going to need a text list variable, and I think that's all for now. We can add more. So we want to set the doc variable to the app active doc, and then we want to make sure we actually have an active document. So we'll just put this in here. This is a built-in method that says, hey, is that object actually valid? This app active doc, and the app is like it's like the top level object in ExtendScript for the FrameMaker session. In the FDK, they call it the session object. And also we want to have a paragraph object, and we want that to be the document's text selection. And we want the beginning of that text selection. So if we had some text selected, we want the beginning of it, and then we want the object, which will give us the actual paragraph object. So it's obj, and we can actually test this. We should test and see if it's valid. Now where this wouldn't be valid is if we didn't have our cursor in text. So we're going to do this, and now let's just display it, and we can just say we'll display the name of the paragraph format. So if we save this, we can just switch back to FrameMaker, and we can click in a paragraph and actually run this, and you can see we're in a body paragraph. If I select this, we're in a heading 1. If I select this, we're in a heading 2. Now if I select multiple paragraphs, remember in the code it was the beginning. So whatever text is selected, we're at the beginning, and then we get the object. So in this case, because we started with the top level one, we're going to see a heading 1 like that. So now that we have that, we know that we can grab the paragraph, we can grab this body paragraph. Now let's figure out how to get the text of it. So what we can do here is let's delete this, and we can we'll copy this to a function when we're done with it, but let's just rough it out here. So we're going to get a list of strings from this paragraph. So we're going to say text list equals pgf get text is the method. And then we have to tell it what we want. Now get text will get table anchors, it'll get frame anchors, it'll get markers, but in this case we want it to get strings. So we would look this up, and it would be constants FTI strings. It's actually singular strings. So it'll get us a list of string text objects from the paragraph. Now let's just do this. Let's see what we get. And again, if I save it and just go to FrameMaker, I can just quickly run this. Make sure my cursor's there. So there's actually several text items. So there's a string, there's a string, there's a string. So there's actually 4 separate strings in here, and every time there's a a new line every time there's a character property change, every time there's a marker, something that interrupts the text in the paragraph, you get a separate text object. And you'll see like this one here should only have one. Yeah, because there's no multiple lines in this heading. There's no. Now let's make something italic, just so you can see this. So now I have that's italic. Now I should get 3 of them. Yeah, I get the text up to the word order, then I get the text order, and then I get the text after the word order, because that's just how it works. So let's change that back. And then let's go back to our script. And what we need to do is we need to loop through these. So we will add a couple more variables here. We'll add a count variable, and we'll add an I variable, and we'll say, because we need to loop through these. So we're going to say count equals text list length. So there's a length property that tells us how many of those there are. And we're going to just do a plain JavaScript loop for I equals 0. I is less than count. And then I plus equals 1. We want that to increment. And then we're going to create a text object, or we're going to create a variable that actually contains the text. So let's create another variable up here, and we're going to say text plus equals, because what we're going to do, and actually we have to initialize that. We have to initialize this variable. So let's do it up here. Text equals. So we need to initialize it to an empty string before we do this. So now we're going to say text plus equals. So we're going to, as we go through these lists of text items, we're going to add them. We're going to concatenate them to this text variable. And so the way we do that is text list, and then whatever member we're on, because that I is going to increment, and the property is sData. And what's that short for? String data. That's what that means. So each one of those had the sData is the actual text, and that's what we want to do. So now once we're down here and we're out of this loop, we can display the text. Let's see what we get. So we're going to save it. We're going to go, we'll run it on this heading first. And you can see we get changing the order of commands. Let's do this one. And there you see the text. Now the reason we're doing that is because when we run this FindChange, we're going to want to get the text so we can apply a regular expression to the text. We could search using regular expression, but what we want to do is we're going to test the text first, and then if we find what we're looking for, then we're going to go inside and do something. We're going to find it in the actual paragraph.